Why did you commit to an industry despite knowing the fact that it was a scam since day one?
Let's be honest. Can you tell me straight to my face that looks did not matter in hospitality?
It always did. What is the term for it? Beauty privilege? Let's say you're like, Baba, you know what? You're really pretty while you look like a burnt cookie, and you went to an airline interview and you heard it there. And then suddenly it strikes you that, oh, shite, my professor lied to my face.
Even an ugly person would not accept another ugly person serving them their meal. It's not just about the service that you're giving out through, it's also about the insults you can take.
All right. Today, we are talking about our first professional fuck ups, screw ups, whatever you would like to call it. You know, the times that we cut the onions too thin, the edges of the brownies were too thick, or the sugar sachets were too sugary. Uh, this episode is primarily going to be reliving PTSD, and it's more of a therapy session for the both of us. Since it's too expensive, can't afford it, so we've included all of you guys into it. So, welcome to Beyond the Bar Top, where we spill the tea intentionally with Nick and Abhi. And today we are discussing a trap called hospitality. And let's start things off by asking you the very first dilemma. Why the fuck did you do this? As simple as it is, that why did you commit to an industry despite knowing the fact that it was a scam since day one?
Yeah. Now, when you put it that way, yeah, that just makes us look really ignorant. Okay, let's start off with this. Okay, let's be frank and honest. Nobody really says that. Okay, I want to be in hospitality. When you're a kid, no one says, "I want to be a doctor, a pilot, an astronaut, and also a waiter." Just with the thing that's up. So, pretty obvious for majority of the people. It's kind of like a secondary path that's taken out through. And yeah, I mean, I did see that glossy brochure and kind of believed it to the starting point. But little did I know that I'm going to be ending up washing dishes up until 3 a.m. in the morning. Now, let's be frank, it's usually a mix of knowing someone in the industry, those Nepo kids that have a clear roadmap. Their uncle, their father is already an established chef or a general manager in a hotel. And then there's the other side that have a lack of options. So they probably heard it from somebody saying, "Oh, look at that college. It offers you a degree in XYZ." And you go off thinking, "Yeah, hey, that sounds easy as shit. I mean, I can do that in my sleep." Yeah, little did we know. And then once you're in it, I mean, you don't want to disappoint your parents again. So that internal pressure, I think, is your reason for committing. But I think that turns out to be your strongest motivation throughout the rest of the years that follow.
I completely agree with that because I think, despite knowing that this was a scam, or I agree that we are bashing our industry. However, we are still talking about the nascent phases when we began. More than anything else, it was we didn't want to be a disappointment to our parents yet again
That's true. That's true.
because we were quite well versed with it. We easily did it.
It was second nature.
It was second nature. Fair. But despite knowing the fact that our other friends who didn't succumb to this scam,
Yeah.
they went to colleges with fancier laptops, with much easygoing uniforms. Okay, I'm bringing up uniforms because you know how much of a task grooming was every single day.
Yeah. That. When you come into the industry finally, when you get your first job, you truly understand the grooming standards. But when you're a teenager and you see your friends going to college in their tone jeans, because back then tone jeans was pretty much a trend, and instead you had to suit up, buckle up your tie, polish your shoes. I mean, it felt kind of pretentious, only to be later swapped for like a kitchen uniform, like wearing your hat and I forgot what the damn suit was called. It had a term for it, but yeah, the kitchen set.
Chef coat.
Yeah, oh, that's the word. That's the word. This is the, exactly, and there you go. 3 years of hospitality industry, hotel management, college trainee. That's
Oh,
exactly why.
welcome. Welcome to therapy session 101.
But yeah, my point being, they all went off with the latest fashion and things, and we had to go prim and proper, had to be suited up, okay? And oh my god, did I hate, listen, the cotton test. Do you remember that? The one for the beard? Yeah, that shit. That shit, it still gets on my nerves time and again because to think about it, that we were pushed to such a degree of shaving your face where you had to like get rid of the epidermis altogether just to the cotton wouldn't fucking stick on you. And those guys who had high testosterone, the moment they left their house and reached college, they had a stubble already. So college did not forgive that shit. Like you had to carry a razor blade with you all the way through. And yeah, it's just harsh. And even remember, in our same building, we had the fashion designing kids. They all come up decked up, and
You're referring to the times the cafeteria because again we were divided into interior designing, hotel management, and fashion designing.
exactly,
Oddly enough, our breaks were in the same duration.
that's right.
Go ahead, go ahead. Give some more insight.
Honestly, it looked like we were about to serve them their lunch during those breaks. Not on the father's time. And I remember sometimes you'd have kitchen class just after, like just before lunch break. So you literally woke up with your kitchen uniform and gravy stains all over it, and carrying your kitchen set. Like you said, right? Other people had their MacBooks. We had our own kitchen cutlery set with the paring knife and the whisker. Half of that shit got misplaced by the 6 month mark over there.
Okay,
But
the funny bit was because we were friends with a few of them from interiors and all of that, we smelt like their lunch.
that,
We wish we got
true.
eaten, but college rules.
Yeah, yeah, no fraternizing.
But everything said and done, I don't think someone from college would watch this, but in case they did, just one thing for the 3 years of constant bashing we got for grooming standards, we both are still part of hospitality, and so are many more. Look at our faces.
Exactly. I was just saying, no
Approved,
cotton test happening today, motherfucker.
approved in 5 stars. Oddly enough, I just have a quick story to mention. Because I got not brainwashed, but rather so in tune, accustomed to this whole you need to be clean shaven daily. You cannot have a stubble. You cannot have a 5 p.m. shadow. None of that shit. You need to be clean shaven at all times with your hair set perfect. Again, my first job played along to those rules because it was an Indian company. But the very next one, which was in the middle of the ocean, I remember the head of the department, one of the restaurant managers asking, why do you not have piercings? Why do you not have tattoos? And he took me to the side and I mean, in Hindi, he told me, he's like, दाढ़ी उगाने में मुश्किल होता है क्या तेरे को?
Exactly.
And I was like,
Exactly.
no, you give me the permission. He's like, yeah, do it.
Yeah. Just translation, that means somebody, and that has happened before, where people do ask, do you have difficulty in growing a beard? And again, as a man, you feel like that kind of feels off putting. What do you mean? I can't grow one? Some people can't grow one, they got patchy stuff, but they would still grow if you let them.
It's okay, stick some.
No. But again, little did they know, right? Like you're talking about growing a beard out over there. Back then, if our shoes weren't polished right, if you remember, we used to ride to work, right?
Yeah.
And in India, monsoons are pretty fucking heavy. We were literally carrying our formal shoes in the bags and riding in flip flops to work, just to the college, just so that we didn't have to re-polish them all over again. Now, when you traumatize somebody to that extent, he's not gonna come with a stubble on his face, let alone grow a beard or have tattoos or piercings. Sorry,
Also,
what?
also riding 10 kilometers in 20 minutes didn't really help with muck in our faces.
Okay,
but there's
this
that second.
let's not bring that down. My mom might be watching. She's gonna
We
say like,
followed
ah,
every
I knew it.
signal.
I knew you were riding like a jackass.
Yeah, we stopped at every signal. We said hi to every cop out there. No, we didn't.
Yeah, no, that's a different time frame. But again, the perfection the college demanded, I think, was a good preparation for what the industry had in place. Because again, you got to bear in mind that looking good did matter, and there was an idea that globally is had, right? Let's be honest. Can you tell me straight to my face that looks did not matter in hospitality?
It always did. It always did. What is the term for it? Beauty privilege?
This
Pretty
is
privilege. That's what it's called, right? Like pretty
okay.
privilege. It,
Yeah,
let's be honest, it's a thing. Deny it all you want. At least in hospitality, it exists. Do you get priority in interviews? Yes. Do you get priority when it comes to events? And I'm not saying just to present, and it's not just women, it's even guys.
yeah. No, but I think women were even more harshly down.
Okay, that is still the other end of the spectrum, okay,
Okay.
because there were certain professors, let's not take names, but they would tell it to your face. And I'll be very honest, I'm glad they said it to m- most of their faces
Some people's.
because they needed to hear it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Let's say you're like, ah, Baba, you know what? You're really pretty while you look like a burnt cookie. And you went to an airline interview and you heard it there. And then
Yeah,
suddenly it strikes you
yeah.
that, oh, shite, my professor lied to my face.
He called me pretty. Yeah, no. No, I'll be in the same retrospect. I remember, like, I've been witness to professors saying that to somebody, and I think in the most diplomatic way possible at that point in time, saying, you know what, if you want to work in this industry, you got to take care of yourself. And I got the hint in that sentence. I understood exactly what the professor meant. But this dumb bitch went off to say, what does that mean? And the professor did not hesitate to elaborate. It's like your eyebrows, this little whisker you got going on, your makeup shadow, and all that thing that's done. And my jaw dropped over there because I don't even know these different beauty treatments that were there in place. The professor, she gave her links to where she can go, which parlor, what is this treatment called. Yeah, that girl walked away crying, but a few years later, it's people being rejected because they're not the standard beauty on the list as such. Like the standard of beauty. That's
Yeah,
a harsh
I
rap.
get it. It is shallow. It is shallow. Okay.
Till date,
It is
till
true.
date.
Because at the end of the day, that's the standard that most people have set. When you're sitting in your space saver economy seat, you still
Yeah,
want to look at a pretty cabin crew,
yeah.
right?
But regardless, what if you're spending big money? You really want somebody ugly coming and serving your dish?
That's subjective. But I'm
Listen,
looking at the other end of the
the only
spectrum.
place ugly people are accepted is in the fucking circus. Yeah? No, I'm not bashing people out there. I'm not like setting up an. I'm just saying that's the perspective of the consumer. And screw that. Take an ugly person. All right, sorry. Take an ugly person.
Give me an example. I don't know what you're referring
Nah,
to.
I'm not falling for that trap. But take an ugly person, hypothetically, put them in a fine dining situation, and ask them if they'd like somebody with maybe, I don't know, a hunchback or half a leg come and serve them with an eye drooping or drizzling some liquid. I don't know. Actually, I just picture a zombie at this stage. But even an ugly person would not accept another ugly person serving them their meal. I'm just saying meal because that's the most sensitive place where even if somebody maintained all the hygiene standards, but they just looked like they didn't take a shower, that's it. You don't want them touching your food.
Before we go further down this rabbit hole, I would just like to summarize by saying that what it's trying to say is very similar to showbiz,
Mm,
minus the paycheck,
yeah,
where it is जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. Okay, because
exactly.
at the end of the day, it's all about presentation, and it is not just your food and drinks. It's also the person who's serving it to you.
Yeah,
He or she's got to smell great, look great, not even look great, like has to look the part.
yeah.
And it
Has to
is
look
true.
pleasant,
On
and
that
a little
note,
cleavage didn't hurt anyone.
share, kaching.
To, oh man, that's let's not. I would definitely in another episode want to talk about the uniform standards in our industry.
Yeah, I've heard some conversations around that, but we'll deep dive into that later. But
That's right.
before that, I just want to, since you mentioned the professor, let's not take names because she's still alive.
It they them.
It, they, them, yeah, she's very inclusive that way.
Yeah.
I fondly remember this conversation where there was this one person, a woman, who really wanted to go in for an airline interview. But she was not the most self-aware person out there.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this.
Just because the other girls were really sweet to her, she thought that she could participate in this
Endeavor.
mock interview round as well.
Yeah.
So she goes up, and this professor in question asks that, "What are you doing here?" She says, "I'm come to do the mock interview for the actual interview tomorrow." She's, "Sweetie, I think you should sit this one out. Wait for the hotels. There are so she took a few brands which are like tier two, tier three brands. She's opt for them. I would suggest strongly to avoid the airlines." And she's like, "Ma'am, I do speak," in her vernacular English. She went on to say that, "I
Thanks.
do speak fluent English." And that's when this certain professor, who shall not be named, her
Yeah.
inner Cruella came out, and "Ma'am, the interview that is happening tomorrow is for a very coveted German airline. It is not a cargo class airliner because there are only so many cows they would want on board."
The fuck. Yeah. Somehow I
I
know exactly what the professor you're talking about.
just think, despite that, she didn't comprehend what just happened. But all of
Oh.
us in the background go, "Ah."
She did not just say that shit out loud.
The professor looked at us with a side eye for validation. She's like, "That was a good one, wasn't it?"
Tell me that was a good one.
But this poor girl
Yeah.
didn't get the gist of what is happening. So she had to spell it out for her, which was the worst part.
Yeah,
Because
no,
she's, "Lady, you cannot be there for the interview tomorrow
no.
because our college has an image to maintain. So step out of the line."
Yeah. If you can't fit in the aisle, step out of the line. I'm just, yeah. Sorry.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we have bashed others enough for this one episode. We'll
No, no, bitch, we faced that too, okay? Don't you think we've gotten that? Like, I've had my share of being bashed as well. There's a reason I don't work in F&B.
Yeah, F&B is a deadly space.
Yeah.
Kitchen has it worse, I'll give it that. But we'll
Oh,
come
yeah.
back to that in detail later. However, before we continue thrashing other people, I want to ask more a personal thing, since this is the shrink that we can afford. When did you first realize, in first year specifically, that this is hospitality, this is happening to us, and there is no exit? One, because can't afford to exit. Second, parents will be the shit out of us yet again.
The moment I felt that this is what I am in hospitality would be the time when I thought I could do F&B. We both wanted to do it together, yeah, that time. But my first F&B practical, basically they were teaching us how to serve and collect the plate, how to be a French waiter, so to speak. And I was preparing for that moment because we had faculty that we had to supposedly serve imaginary food too and some cut salad. But at that point in time, I had come, and for some reason, not some reason, more precisely, I had walked 3 floors of stairs because our elevator in the college didn't work frequently enough. And for some reason, the F&B practical room, this makeshift restaurant, never had its air conditioning working. So I was perspiring throughout the entire service. Yeah. Now, that would be a normal part. I'm going on wiping my forehead and all that shit. But our professor at that point did not hesitate to be, I would say, very non sympathetical and go off with, why are you sweating over my food? And you think this is a good way for a customer to enjoy their meal? And in that moment, I just thought to myself, oh shit, I fucked up. I did not know I shouldn't have walked 3 floors. I had one lecture downstairs, another lecture upstairs, and I didn't have time to literally go and freshen up. But in that moment, I realized two things. First of which is that maybe I might not be cut off F&B, but fuck, I think I'm finally understanding hospitality. It's not just about the service that you're giving out through, it's also about the insults you can take. Yeah, but that's my side of it. Sad story, but anyway, I fuck that professor. I'm out of it anyhow. But what about you? What was your aha moment?
Before I tell that story, which you were a part of, this professor that we're talking, he's the same person, despite having a tasting spoon, would still taste gravy like that. Okay, so let's, if you're watching, fuck you and you're perspiring. Okay, okay, mine has not to do with college, but is associated with college. Just some context here. We had to do something called, this should ring a bell with you, which was we had to do something called ODCs. Yeah, another PTSD now touching.
Yeah, no, full form
Right
that
there.
for listeners.
That's
Goddamn.
outdoor catering. In a nutshell, if you're ever at a banquet, not necessarily a 5 star, even a 3 star or four, or even an outdoor event, let's say at a race course or something, if you see a bunch of kids who do not look like they belong there, yeah, they are college kids who are bought there at a ransom for 6 hours from 6 p.m. until 12 a.m. as per their college curriculum. This is their first hand experience in hospitality, which we were part of.
We were
Now,
forced to be a part of.
it,
Damn it.
okay, so they dangled this carrot in front of us, which said that, hey, if you do 20 of these, 15 or 20 of these in your first year, you get an additional few points in your GPA, which, let's be honest, the both of us could do with it.
Needed.
Even,
Needed is
yeah,
what I can it word.
yeah, because we needed it. Because Belly did accounts, Belly did French, just kept staring at the ma'am, and that was it. I love you, and that
That's
was
kind of
it.
hard though. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Okay,
But
not
no, ODC,
yes,
ODC,
yes.
backtrack.
Focus, focus. So coming back to the ODC, which is outdoor catering, we got an option to choose which one we wanted to go for, which not. So we both opted for the one at the 5 star hotel, which is the closest to our home. The only reason being we'd finish at 12 a.m. We'd always commute by your motorcycle, so we'd be home in 15, 20 minutes max. We decided to go there. We reached the hotel at, I think reporting was like at 5 p.m. or so for the 6 p.m. shift. It was pretty fancy at the start because you entered the 5 star, but the only difference being you entered from the staff entrance because you're now a staff member.
Yeah.
You enter, you do the biometric, you're doing all your entries and all of that. They give you their uniforms, and I'm like, well, this is great. This is nice. They let you dine at their cafeteria. Another plus. The food was great. They give you.
Really though? Sorry. Really? Really?
Would you pick the 5 star cafeteria food or the vada pav or the tapri?
Okay, okay. Your comparison levels, okay, fine. I'll give you that. Fine. Fine. The food
Plus, it
was.
was all you can eat,
That is true. Yeah.
which we later realized was a mistake because we would end up eating at the workstation. However, before we get there, they gave us additional time to groom ourselves, look the part because it's customer facing, guest facing, and all of that. So we got plenty of time to get ready and all of that. And then 5:45, reality struck me point blank because the very first, I trust me, every time I see a banquet setup, this rings like an alarm clock in my head because the manager of that banquet said, and I quote,
Yeah.
The dishwasher cannot keep up with the pace that the guests are eating at. Okay. So you guys got to be wiping really prompt. बट एक चीज का ध्यान रखना एंड यू कैन ट्रांसलेट दिस. एक चीज का ध्यान रखना कि जो रात का गेस्ट आ रहा है उनको पता नहीं चलना चाहिए कि लंच में बटर चिकन था.
Oh, sorry, let me translate that because it is fucked up to know that is even an acceptable practice. What that team lead said basically to Abhi at that point was do not let the guests know that earlier today during lunch there was butter chicken. So make sure the plates are at least wiped down to that degree. Means they haven't really gone through its thorough washing.
It, bro, let's be honest. We all just stared at each other like he's better be he's joking, right? Because I mean,
Yeah,
we came out of college. We are like, oh, you're an American brand, you know better. And you're telling us that we are wiping down plates instead of actually rinsing them.
yeah, no,
Okay, that was the first reddest red flag. However, we still continued.
yeah,
We put on our uniforms. They gave us this tray, and they decide to decorate it with a fucking candle and another contraption on top of it with 5 pieces of tikka on it because it's got to look pretty and the candle is supposed to keep it warm. Not realizing this fucking motherfucker is easy like 3 to 5 kgs.
yeah,
Not all of us went to the gym, man. There were like two guys in our class at best,
yeah, no.
and they were
The
having a
rest,
field day
man,
with
those,
it.
those salvas were heavy as fuck sometimes.
We were, as you mentioned earlier, we were the circus pieces because the curtains went open and they were like, Ja. And we went out there and we looked like an object. I felt violated because we just stood there. They didn't come for us, they came for the food.
Yeah.
But,
But nobody gave you like a walk around of the path you had to go through. You just said, oh, go take off with them.
and the only instruction was you need to ensure that if you're down to one piece or whatever you're given, come back
Yeah.
to the back area and pick up more. And someone is standing with tikka, someone is standing with some cocktail dessert, someone is standing with a drink, and we're all standing at each, staring at each other, wondering, what the fuck are we doing?
Exactly.
We all got blazers thinking that we are managers at this point. We were managing our self pride, which was
Okay.
getting dissolved by the minute out there.
That is
And
messed.
we are
But
all, no, but we were busy
that,
bashing up each other, wondering, hey, you have an easier tray. Let me pick up your appetizer. And then we all
that's,
collectively come to the back area and see you fucker are chilling out there.
yeah, but see, that's what I wanted to say. I need to like disclaimer since it's like a free therapy session. I do sympathize with your experience. However, during ODCs, that was not mine. Okay, that's just be honest. Okay, just for the listeners itself, quick idea. So while all these guys were going, getting groomed, doing their makeup and whatever, I never had a bloody uniform that fit me. Okay, was always a big guy, and for some reason, the Indian body type does not cater to larger size men. Mind you, I'm not a fat guy. I'm not running with a big ass tummy or something. I was just a big guy, and there was no waistcoat that could button down on me. So naturally, the team lead will be like, you know what, fuck it, go to the kitchen, see what the chef can do for you, and no sensible chef would ever say, oh, come help me with my dish. So most of the times I would be dishwashing, and once in a while I'd maybe be chopping some vegetables out through. Okay, mind you, that point Abhi mentioned earlier about wiping down the trays, so wiping down the plates. That's something I can vouch for because as a what would be the right as an experienced dishwashing technician, that's the word. Yes, dishwashing through the machine takes a bit of time. And mind you, when they come out of the machine, they are hot as a motherfucker. Alright? Trust me, you can get scalded out easy with the dishwasher. You gotta wait for the dishwasher to drain out the liquid. Because if you try to grab it in the middle, wipe it dry. Yeah, no, that's not happening. It's too bloody hot to wipe dry out. So you gotta wait for it to like cool down a bit. And that whole process, it may take a good say 30 to 40 seconds on a very old machine, maybe. But the people are eating much faster than that.
But you, my friend, made the most of those 40 seconds buffer because you decided to be the executive chef.
Yeah, let's get to that. So, obviously, the dishwashing takes time. So, what am I going to do? And again, mind you, this all you can eat version, which Abhi liked in the cafeteria, I was not a biggest fan of because I had experience that I can get food elsewhere too. So, for example, when we were at the banquets, the food would go through two levels of official tasting, and there would be a third level just to make sure. You just got to make sure that the guests are receiving the top quality. So first you'd have the sous chef who'd prepare the dish and make sure it's on point, and then he would taste it, and then he would forego it to the executive chef. And the executive chef would then stamp on it saying, okay, fine, it's ready to go out to the guest. And just before the tray exited towards the main banquet, there'd be a third test, which would be me. Because I had to make sure as well, because I didn't trust the executive chef. Okay, just be honest. I was a hospitality management student at top of my class, the expert in gajar halwa 3 years running, and it had to go through me. So I would actually get stuff by the end of the night with top tier food going out to the guests directly. And because all, I think, okay, I can't say all, but maybe 90% of all the guys holding a tray out there were my classmates, I never got said no to. So, yeah, ODC for me was pretty chill, I must say. But again, let's talk about that stipend, Abhi. You want to tell them about how much we got paid? Because why I had to eat half their food over there?
Yeah, so while Govardhan Ramsay right here was having tasting sessions, private tasting sessions, and we were struggling it out there. Fast forward to the only good part about this outdoor catering was time flew by really fast because you were so busy. And again, it was a relatively new experience, and we didn't do it on the daily. We did it like maybe once in 2 weeks just to meet the curriculum requirements. And we had to do it until 6 p.m. until 12 a.m. That was it. At 12 a.m. sharp, we would get the fuck out of there. You just bolt out, you'd punch out one of your supreme leaders or whoever was the in charge of our clan would receive the money and he would distribute it amongst us.
Yeah.
While we were gathering our thoughts and our tears outside the hotel, we'd receive the amount, which was an astounding amount, which was 350 rupees. For
Yeah.
anyone, that's Indian rupees. So anyone outside India, feel free to convert it if you're in the US for whatever reason. That's $2.50. Again, and that was a stipend amount for 6 hours of work, out of which the 350 rupees, about 150 rupees went in Old Monk, which is an amazing rum back then, which none of us can
True.
digest today. But it went in rum and coke. The remaining 50 rupees went in fuel to come back home. But that rum and coke was essential
Yeah.
because you needed to rewind of the experiences you just witnessed in real time.
It's just messed up. Like, I think the rum and coke was, if they would provide this rum and coke as a stipend, that would have been better value than that 350 they were giving us out.
Fair? I would pick that any day. Here's the thing. I remember the best part coming back home. It was like late in the night. The next day in the morning, I tell my mom about this. She said, so, how was your college experience? How was it going out there and working for the first time and all of that? And I'm like, they fucking troubled us. They made us carry this tray and it was gruesome and all of that. We struggled for 6 hours. She felt so bad because about a week later, when she went for a wedding and she saw one of the guys at the banquet serving her an appetizer, she handed him some extra money, saying, and he said thank you. And she reverted by saying, "My son does this too."
Yeah, that's some parental pity right there. Yeah, most parents do that. Every hospitality kids' parents have done that. Like, you see the guy wiping out the tables, they're like, my son does that too. He might not be, but still, my son.
In conclusion, I just got to say one thing. But you can close it, but everything said and done, all our
Yeah,
experiences, there's a lot more to share, which we will deep dive into. But based on everything that we spoke about in this very episode,
yeah,
it did shape a better version of us.
yeah.
Let's
That's
be
true.
honest.
That's
You
true. Well,
sweating it out,
experience. Yeah,
you sweating it out in a practical that you didn't want to be part of. We experiencing an outdoor catering version that we were not really well versed with made us a lot more resilient to everything that we face today. All the way from the grooming standards, ma'am, if you're watching,
I actually just trimmed it yesterday, but it would be longer today. Otherwise,
we'd like to see the cotton sob now. What? It's just being dicks at this point. However, that was essential back then, but I'm sure it's updated or moved on with the current times and trends. But what do you think? Do you think that it's changed in today's time and age?
no, of course, it definitely should have. Today, I see the industry, and again, I have the opportunity, and I think a very lucky opportunity that I touch around so many different departments. And what I learned back then, the kind of strictness it was, even to a point, I remember going for this seminar, and this celebrity chef goes off to say, yeah, that's how the industry is. It is underpaid. It is this level of facade. This is, and that kind of twisted me the wrong way, where it was understood that the industry is messed up, but that's just the way it is. So you have to accept it that way. So I definitely feel a lot has changed from then to now. A lot to take away. But if you're gonna ask me, is college really the best way? College is good experience, yeah. But if you want real experience, nothing like the practical. Like nothing like doing it yourself. Just to give you a quick example, like you remember the W set, right? Yeah, let me tell about that real quick. So back in the day, since I was no longer involved with the F&B side of the studies, we had a W set training, which is basically a wine and spirit education training set. And we had visitors come in who were going to certify some of our students in that expertise, so to speak, or that certification. Now, my professor very casually happened to tell me, see, plan to do F&B in the long term, so no point in you actually studying it out. Why don't you just read the book? The textbook will give you the same information. And my dumbass said, okay, because like obviously I wasn't really planning to be into F&B or turn into a sommelier overnight. So I tucked my tail and I walked back looking at the textbooks, and I read through it as much as I could, tried to understand whatever I could. Turns out, years later, I actually did get my W set done. All right, and here's a quick novice guide to all of your listening out there, because textbooks do not come close to the real thing. All right. However, it's not as difficult as you'd imagine. So here's the simple version of it. Right? There are four kinds of wines if you're talking about wine specifically on the W set. All right? You have your super sweet syrups. Those are like your dessert wines. Okay, that just means you're working towards diabetes and probably a heart attack coming in soon. Yeah, if that's your go-to one. After that, you can talk about your sweet. And remember, there's always a middle between all of these four segments, but these are your primary. You have your sweet, which is my favorite, is the port wines. These ones give you the best kick. Okay, any rainy day, take a little pakora on the side. Port wine does beautiful. Yeah. After that, you have your kind of dry wine. So these are the ones that would basically give you cotton mouth. It's like you just came out from an anesthesia appointment. It just feels on your cheek coming in through, and you can blame it on the tannins. If anybody says, "Oh, it feels dry," just say the tannins are really high in this one. That's one. And then you have your very dry. If you like this, you're a little psychotic because I don't see why people would enjoy making a fish mouth. Do you know, when you have this, yeah, you just do this the whole fucking time because it's just. And these are the crazy ones that say, "Oh, this would pair really well with some bullshit." Yeah, that's your four wines basic. And if you want to look like you know what you're talking about, then you talk about your notes and profiles. So this wood, oaks, fruits, nuts, all this jazz, yeah, which could be anything. So you could be tasting a grass from the Himalayan valley or sweaty balls from a flasher on the bus. It depends what you're exposed to. But it solely goes across through with that. And then you can interpret it any way you like. But like I said, practical is a way better teacher than a textbook ever will be. So that's a doubly said one.
Oh, okay, sorry, but just to sum things up, I completely agree that academic knowledge is far inferior to compare to practical knowledge. But if someone's out there who really wants to do a W set or wants to study some aeronautics, please do not take his example. Wine is not classified to just those four fucking things. It's not just balls, sweat, and butterscotch. There's a lot more to it. Please do not be that.
That's the easier version, man. This is just it.
Go out there, do some research. If you're in Maharashtra, go to, I don't know, Sula, Fratelli, wherever, and do your wine tasting. But do not believe him.
Professor's gonna see this. He throw a fit. He
Like,
said,
why the
"That's not
fuck
what I
did I give him level
explained to
one?
you."
Yeah, it's nowhere close. Also, just before we close, just a quick note. If you are ever at a wine tasting and you hear somebody say, "Oh, I feel woody notes and I feel a little butterscotch and a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of cum," and all of that stems from whatever you've tasted since your childhood. So if you taste vanilla and someone else is tasting cum, they've had a fucked up childhood. Okay, just letting you know.
A little friendly neighbor.
Just a friendly neighbor who's visiting you a little too frequently than they should have.
Some.
I think
But
we've
yeah, I mean,
ranted enough over our college for this particular one,
that's
but
true.
we'll deep dive into the other aspects of it later on. And please feel free to ask any questions down below. Do the regular shite or share, subscribe, and everything else that follows.
That's true. And share it with other hoteliers you know. That'd be something.
If you have any wine related questions, feel free to ask Nick directly because he's a sommelier expert around here.
I got you. I
Yeah.
got you.
His
Get
answer
me
to
a
everything
port
is
thousand.
port wine. Exactly. Exactly. Every answer is just port thousand, mix it with a little bit of green stuff and signature, and we brew it all together.
That's all you need, man. Anyway,
So
catch
let's
you on the
close
next
it.
one.
For the next one, man.